What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back once again to a Tuffy Talk live show, y'all. And we are officially and fully in the off season, y'all. We are officially in the slow years. Wah, wah, no fun. What are we going to do? Just be pulling 80 hairs out, I guess, between now and the beginning of football season, I guess. But now we'll have a lot of fun, have a lot of things to talk about here for sure. Recap else to get ready for. As again, Greg, and we'll be joined here momentarily by Macon, but I don't see any reason why we can't go do it again next year. You look at pretty much every single team, and I don't really see there's going to be a reason why we're not going to build, honestly, on everything that's been accomplished from last season's teams. So, agree, disagree, far-fetched?
No, I look, the foundation is there. It's been proven that it can be done. So why not do it again? Let's run it back. My wallet would say, I hope we don't, but the fan in me, I want to do it again. I selfishly want to do it again.
Yep. Greg, do me a favor, man, and pull out that you got those popping thing crap again, man. But yeah, y'all, again, especially just with everything that we have to look forward to for sure. I know everybody's excited about football for sure, but really we're going to be talking a lot about first and foremost here some recruiting, which finally now we got Macon here in the chest. Now we can start talking a little bit about recruiting, man. Macon, it's been a little bit quiet, right? Last couple of days been a little quiet on the recruiting side, and you're muted, bud. Yeah.
Am I still popping or am I better?
Say one more time.
Am I good?
I think you're good so far. I'll let you know if not. But but Derek Jackson, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Michelle, appreciate y'all tuning in again. Any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? Make sure to get them in the chat. But we got a lot to get to today, so we're going to jump right into it here. But Greg, I've said it before that this is probably the best state that the NC State football program may ever have been in. And I think the last couple of days have honestly confirmed that we're having 3 and 4, we're having 4-star guys commit, and we're in the conversations with top 100 overall recruits, with the number 1 overall recruit in the country. And it's just business as usual. When probably 5 years ago, we'd be like, oh my gosh, like remember when Will Shipley, everybody was just like, oh my gosh, we got to get Will Shipley. But now it's like face on branding, like, hey man, like come join the pack. Come on, man. Like, it just feels like it's just a whole different feel in terms of the raise of the state of the program. So Macon, thoughts?
I just think like what's going on, what's already been announced, and just what could happen in the next few weeks is really something special. I think this is the last few weeks they've had a lot of camps. They've had a lot of the official visit weekends. And it really looks like the guys who are committing right now were on this visit this past weekend.
Yep.
I don't recall having 4 guys commit so quickly out of one weekend. So you can maybe argue it's the best recruiting weekend NC State football has had. Now, could it be better with what's coming out in the next few days or weeks? I have no idea. We'll see what happens, but
yeah,
I got a feeling it's going to be more. Just the guys you got, like Cam Strong, DB out of South Carolina, gives me some Brandon Sisse vibes a little bit, maybe. He kind of makes you look physically. He kind of looks like a guy. You guys remember a receiver named Cornell Powell? Does that name sound familiar at all from like 2018-ish? He kind of looks like the guy. It's just kind of random thought. He committed to Clemson over State, but and he played receiver. But Cam Strong, DB, 3-star guy. I think he was down at Georgia Tech, and I can't remember who the other team was that was top
West
3.
Virginia, I think it was.
West Virginia. Yep, yeah, that's right. Get him, and then the second player to commit was a familiar name. At least the last name is Arian Concepcion.
I've heard that name somewhere before. I don't know where.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to say. Maybe he has some good blood in his family. Maybe not. We'll see what happens. But all jokes aside, KC's younger brother, Arian Concepcion, very similar type of player. And if he's anything like his brother, then obviously we're in great shape.
I would take 80% of him. You know what I mean? That's how crazy. That's an insane thing to say, but Yeah.
Casey's like is the wide receiver 1 for NC State. If he was a 2 or a 3 even, I would take that.
Yeah.
So you have him. You got a commitment from I think I'm going out of order here slightly, but you got a commitment from another wide receiver, Jarrell Boulder. And I really for him, that guy, if you watch his film, that guy he looks really good too. He looks very fluid in his motion, strong when running his routes. I really like what I see out of his film. And then you got a guy named defensive tackle. You got him that just announced today. Colby Crom. I'm thinking of Omarion Hampton. I'm thinking defensive line. Omarion Abraham, excuse me. He is a defensive tackle. He's about 6'1", 6'2", smaller size defensive tackle, but State seemed to do well with those kind of players in the last few cycles. He's close to 300 pounds. And then a running back from Georgia, Waycross, Georgia. RJ Boyd. Yeah, and he was a guy when I first watched film from the class and started hearing about who State may be targeting that, man, when I watch his film, I really like what I see. I don't see there's times where I see some shiftiness there, but he seems like he's a big dude and he runs with power. And I'm not necessarily would necessarily call him a power back, which kind of pigeonholes him. But he seems like a guy that I could see a lot of potential with at the running back position as well. So that's 5 guys I can think of right there, right? Strong, Conception, Abraham, I said Boulder, and I'm blanking on the guy I just said there.
Strong, Boyd, Concepcion, Boulder, and Abraham. Those are your 5 commits so far for football.
5 commits, guys, right? I mean,
plus you already had some already in the bag, right? With Gus Ritchie and like there's some of these other guys.
Right. And apparently they took their official visits this weekend too. So I think you made a great point, Lane.
Yeah.
It feels like the floor is being raised for State. And I'm kind of saying it in that way, right? So the floor is being raised. You're not granted, a lot of these guys are 3-star talents, right? But if you look at the offer list, right? And I know you kind of made the face, Greg. Yeah, I'm with you. Kevin Conception was a 3-star. Bradley Chubb was a 3-star, right? Yeah. You got to find that's where your recruiting and your scouting is so valuable for your program, right? Because are you going to go get all the 5 stars out of the world that Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia are going after? No. But Jarrell Boulder, example, he legitimately picked NC State over Georgia, and it didn't. The vibe I'm getting is that it wasn't a thing where Georgia just kind of said no. And so he just kind of felt. He said it seemed very much like I got off my visit from Georgia. I got off my visit from NC State. I'm picking NC State, and that's big.
Yeah, I kind of want to just piggyback off of you when you said the 3 stars, and I know we've kind of talked about this before, but I learned a lot just talking with some of the baseball families and talking about, like, for instance, you have 247 Rivals, even ESPN. You have to pay to go to those camps to get evaluated.
You do.
So some of these guys will not go to these camps just because, 1, they don't feel like they need to, or 2, don't necessarily have the resources to go to the camps. So the whole, mystique on stars, as I've gone through and started kind of hanging out with some of these people and talking to them more and more, I don't value it. I mean, I used to get really hung up on those types of numbers, but now it's just whatever. I think it's the eye test, I think, for what these coaches and evaluators are looking for, I think mean more than these paid, most of these guys haven't even played ball. You know what I mean? Like they do these evaluations.
Well, but then you have some guys who'll be like 3 stars who haven't, guys, these are still guys in high school, right? And we're talking about juniors in high school right now. Okay. So some of these kids have just played football, maybe sometimes, and some of them, some of the guys like they're in the last 2 years, right? And so they may have played different sports when they were younger or not really played much sports at all. And so I just come up with scouting. It's scouting, identifying talent and bringing that talent in. But I can tell you what, it's also really helped. And I I haven't read up on this anywhere necessarily, but I can just tell you, I know this is a factor. NIL, man. I think State's in a really good spot NIL wise, and I think they're being competitive. And yeah,
Well, to your point, when you're winning in the likes of against Georgia, you know what I mean? Like you would think Georgia's NIL would probably be top 10, top 15 in the country. You would assume, right?
Sure, it's fair assumption.
So in order to compete with them, all things aside, you would think the NIL has a say in this. And some guys aren't as much in the NIL, but I think that's probably
it's got to help. Yeah,
that's probably the second or third question coming out of their mouth when they're
nowadays,
talking to these
right?
schools. Yeah.
Because some of those kids, let's just say you give a kid, hey, we're going to offer you $50,000. They're going to play at NC State. Some of that is just way different money than some of these kids have ever seen, right? So that's life-changing money for some way. So even if not, it's just kind of tie out full circle. The talent State is getting, and we have seen now until going into what, year 12 for Dave Doran, or is it year 11?
This is 13, isn't it?
Yes, year 13.
So no, his 12, first year was 2013.
12?
12.
Yeah.
2013 was the first year, so 12.
Yeah.
Right. So he has proven, he has track record identified the talent he needs, right? And so I just try, if State wants him, then they're the right guy to get, in my opinion. A lot of schools will butcher their approach on the recruiting side of things, and it's just a big weekend, right? It's just a huge weekend. Summertime's when this is what is tantalizing for me as a State fan, because I love recruiting side of things.
To your point, real quick too, like
and Greg, last point too, and then we move on.
I just think the profile of the recruits that we brought in the last 5 to 6 years, I think each year we keep anteing up one notch. Like I think we're almost now to boss level, right? I think every year it just feels like we keep leveling up in the recruiting game.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And so I want to jump as well and talk about one of the other big news from today, which is a big commitment, which I know, Macon, I'm sure you were pretty excited about. We had somebody from France, and we said, you know what, we're going to do one better. We're going to go get somebody from Canada who actually was drafted. Say again. French Canadian, right? And somebody who was actually drafted #1 overall in the CEBL draft for this last year and averaged over 18 points per game in the postseason tournament to win a national title for him. And Macon, do you want to? I'm sure you've just committed to saying his name correctly. So
I have.
Go for it, Macon.
So I watched it. So it's Ismail, almost like Israel, kind of Ismail Diouf. So Ismail, it's like Diouf, and it's almost like you have you're kind of subtly throwing in the I there. It's almost like you want to say jokingly like doof, but you kind of Diouf. So I get everybody's going to want to go. I can already see him if he was to play. State fans going
Doofus,
when he plays or coming in something like that. I can already see it happening. Yeah, man, he's a forward. I think he could play if you go small ball. He can play the 5 there too. But he's like 6'9" or 6'10", 6'8", somewhere in there.
6'9", 220 I saw. So so yeah, not size. Kind of a skinnier Armando Baycott build a little bit, if you were to ask me. But I mean, he's a guy that he can shoot the 3 ball. I mean, in his highlight is him shooting a 3-pointer. So which is,
he seems like a more athletic Baycott to me, and I think I get what you're talking about. I think frame maybe.
Yes, frame.
Yeah, he seems like he plays well in transition. And it seems like he also does pretty well in a little than half court, a little bit. Pick and rolls seem to be a good play for him. When he catches the ball in the post, the offense doesn't really get stagnant to me. He knows what to do with the ball, and he's strong. When you see him play, he goes to the rim with power. And I like. He looked
like a plus defender too. Some of his stuff, he had block shots in there, and rebounding really well. Also, in what league did you say he was the #1 draft pick? Isn't that the same league Cat Barber's in?
It is.
Yeah. So there's
the G League. I think it's the G League, right? So
no, I think that's their version of the NBA.
It's the CEBL. It's the Canadian something basketball league.
Yeah, it's their tier 1 league.
Yeah.
So to me, I think the transition from this conversation is big time addition for State, right? International guy was on nobody's radar as a fan, right? So to me, one, you've got to give credit to the NC State coaching staff to identify this guy and bring him in, because I imagine we're not the only school who was aware of him, but the fact that State was able to bring him in at that talent.
Well, and he's 22 years old. He's 22 years old, which I mean,
I think somebody said he has 2 years of eligibility.
Correct.
So,
he does.
but on the other side of it, I just think about what does that mean for the roster right now, right? So,
right.
My thoughts were we were full. So if you're bringing in a guy,
scholarship wise, yeah.
So scholarship wise, is it either one that they found like, I know Muhammad Diarra, people talked about how he didn't have technically he wasn't getting NIL, right, to come to school because he was French. And so, or a French national. So my understanding was he was doing just fine, playing at State. But what does that mean for NC State now? Does that mean somebody's leaving, or if it truly is a scholarship? So that is going to be interesting to see what comes from this. If it truly is an addition, I mean, it just raises State's floor, right? So even more so.
Yeah, there's definitely rumors out there about, what kind of, is Ernest Ross on a scholarship? Is it NIL related? So there's a lot of rumors out there. But obviously it makes sense to let it play out and figure it out. I'm sure the question will be asked at some point, how it all looks, whether it's a media availability or what.
Ross had the odd thing. We went to UTSA and then decommitted and came back to State. So I wonder, like, how is that going to work? Did they make sure I like the move, right? Because he's a locker room guy. But what does it mean? Is it somebody else? Like, is it a MJ Rice? Is it somebody else? I have no idea. And that is going to be very interesting to see what happens.
So to kind of wrap it up, I mean, definitely very, very excited about Ben Middlebrooks, Huntley Hatfield, and Ishmael front court with Ernest Ross sprinkled in as well where needed. That's definitely feeling very, very good about.
You got some styles there too, right? So
you do very different styles.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about. Are you talking about Styles or Dontrez Styles?
Oh, Dontrez Styles.
That's what
I was about to say, because you can take that two different ways.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, you were just naming some new additions, so I was just throwing one in there.
Yeah.
That's right. And then lastly, for just as well, got to give a shout out as well to NC State softball, who over the last 4 days has gotten 2 pretty nice transfer commits. Hannah Church, who's a junior transfer catcher from Ohio State, but also played some outfielder as well. And then Ellington Whitaker, who's a transfer from Baylor, catcher and outfielder as well. And again, you sprinkle that on top of, we also got a transfer shortstop from Virginia Tech. So same thing. I mean, and we'll talk about softball here in a second, but there's no doubt that Coach Leftwich is doing a great job bringing in some really quality players that should make us right there easily competitive in the middle of the ACC next year, in my opinion. If we're not in the middle of the ACC or better next year, I will be shocked. But again, we'll get to that. But anyway, y'all, so again, what we want to do is that, we came, like, there's been content creators like us, who's posted on Twitter, highlighting all of the amazing achievements that have been accomplished in the 2023-2024 athletic year. And, with the fact, unfortunately, that you're limited by characters, whether you're blue check or not blue check, you're limited by characters. There's only so many that you could put in. And there's always people saying, well, what about this? What about that? So what we're going to do is we're going to basically do, for the last, give or take 45, 50 minutes here, and we're going to run through the successes, the championships, the highlights from the 2023-2024 year. So spend about, give or take, 2-3 minutes on average, give or take. We're really going to roll through it, just highlight it, comment or two, and then move along here. But again, y'all just feel free to put in the chat any, just moments that stand out to you, any thoughts. And we would love if we have time there at the end to get to all of them. But since we're doing like a rewind and we haven't used this graphic in a while, instead of weekly rewind, it's going to be yearly rewind. But I'm going to play this transition anyway because I like it. Ooh, I love that transition. So anyway, y'all, so that being said, we are going to start off with volleyball, y'all. And really with NC State volleyball, it's mainly 4 things. First, well, 5 things really. One, we finished with the best overall record in Coach Lucas Labe's tenure so far in year 4 of his tenure. We also finished with the most ACC wins. We also finished with the highest RPI in his tenure as well. So there's no doubt that we're moving in the right direction with this program. But also too, on top of it, we're only losing one key player from last year's team as well. So you're getting most of the women back, who should be able to build off of the success that we had last year, highlighted by, as you can see in this picture here, the first top 5 win in program history over the Louisville Cardinals at home, which was a huge, huge accomplishment, to say the least, for sure. But again, so excited about Lucas Labe and what he is doing. Even though we haven't seen necessarily the high ceiling we're looking for yet. I mean, a guy with his experience and with the fact that he's basically building off of, let's face it, nothing at NC State volleyball. I mean, what he's accomplished so far is very, very exciting, and love to see that short and slow and steady incline. Greg, making any comment here from either of y'all before we move on here?
No, just keep trending in the right direction. I think it takes time to build these programs, and I think you've seen that steady increase, like you just said. So if you could just keep building on that momentum, I think the results will end up coming along.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I think for me, I really think volleyball could be the next. No, that could be the next thing, but I think it's breakout sport, right? I think volleyball is really fun to watch, and I just said they need the right pieces to kind of fall into place, and really, to me, it's the right coaching staff. And hopefully it is Slave. Maybe it's not, but I think it could be. And we'll see. But I mean, I really think this program could be like what wrestling was 10, 15 years ago when I was in college, right? Because I remember going to wrestling and seeing like maybe 100 people there. They had to pull the curtain in Reynolds and just put the floor mat out, and that was a wrestling event. And now it's sold out in a brand new arena. So now you have the arena, they're playing in there in Reynolds. It is a fun sport because it's so fast and dynamically paced. So I'm really excited to your point, Lane, of where this program is headed.
And again, with Lucas Labe and his background with Team USA, I mean, we're lucky to have him, no doubt. And again, keep in mind that wrestling program that you're talking about, that wrestling program had national champions that were associated with that program. Volleyball hasn't had any of that. They've had, let's be real, nothing in the 20-year tenure. So go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, real quick. I was in Omaha, and I was at a bar late after we lost the other night, and wouldn't you know, they had the State Virginia Tech match on, and that kind of pricked me up, having we won that one 3-1. So it would kind of put a nice little me back into a better mood after baseball. So I'm excited for what they do coming up. I think this is a team that was right on the cusp, and I think this is the year they probably break through.
Yeah, absolutely. No. And then moving on to our next one as well, which is going to be men's soccer here. And that's more of necessarily the big addition, which I'm really, really excited about. We just released on Twitter, actually, our full interview with Coach Mark Hubbard, who came over from New Hampshire. Who, I mean, if for those who are not really into the college men's soccer scene, I mean, New Hampshire is one of the probably arguably top 10, top 15 men's soccer programs in the country. And so to get a guy like Mark Hubbard over there who has experience competing against the elite programs in college soccer, men's soccer, is a huge achievement, to say the least. And they're looking really, really strong so far. And we're only about 6 weeks away from the start of the season. But just to kind of recap, I mean, starting off already during the springtime where they had a couple exhibitions and they beat Elon, who's a pretty solid men's soccer program, 2-1. So again, it's just good to see. I'm very, very excited about what this guy's going to do and what this guy's going to accomplish. And I truly do feel that 2 years, even at this time next year, that we're going to be saying, yep, that was a pretty solid hire there by Boo Corrigan. So.
Yeah, men's soccer's had moments throughout its program the last 10, 15 years, right? And so the thing to me I think about is when they look at get a guy like Mark Hubbard, right? The program was kind of struggling, I would say, for a little while there, and it has been for the most part. So. But when you go look at those top 25 rankings, it's like what does not belong here, right? And New Hampshire, I imagine, kind of stands out, like New Hampshire top 10. And so This is a guy I think is really higher for this program, right? It's not in and of itself like the programs that had like, All Americans or an AC champions or like that. It's just more building to what, making the right moves now, setting the foundation in place to help build this program. And there's enough history there that can help state build the program, but getting a guy like Mark Hubbard is a big deal from a program like in New Hampshire that's competing with limited resources and getting big time results.
And Greg, just to lay out a couple of stats before I hand it off to you to give the
Yeah.
last comment about this. So during his time at New Hampshire, he had 101 and 29 and 17 overall record. He was 53, 3 and 7 at home. 53, 3 and 7 at home. And he went to 7 straight NCAA tournaments and won 4 conference titles. So has a redonkulous resume. And honestly, you could argue he's going from, again, one of the top men's soccer programs to NC State. So, I mean, this isn't like a D2 where he was like at Gardner Webb in football and moving up to Power 4. Like, I mean, you could almost argue it's almost a sideways movement that, yes, we're not as accomplished, but we have more funding that we can, potentially put towards men's soccer. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, it's ironically, I was talking to a guy that played at Marist, D1 soccer, and he's very familiar with Coach. And we talked for about 30 minutes and he was like, dude, this guy's a winner. And that he said, give him time. Like probably within 3 to 4 years, you're going to see some amazing results. Like we can potentially be a powerhouse in the ACC, which is an unbelievably strong conference. You have, teams like Clemson have won national championships and
they won it last year.
Yeah, exactly. So his guy was singing Coach's praise. So look, this guy's a D1 athlete, very familiar. I believe him. I don't know a lot about soccer, but I was drinking the Kool-Aid after he was done coaching me up on Coach.
And last thing to even add to it, I mean, last year we were breaking attendance records, having sold out games in a middle tier season. Not great, not good, not bad. And so imagine if we're top 15, top 20 program on top of that. I mean, the fans' minds would absolutely blow. So very, very excited to see what happens with men's soccer for sure. Now let's move on to one of the things that we love to hang our hat on for sure, which is cross country. 3-time national champions, and now cross country alone has more team titles than the rest of the NC State athletics program combined.
That's a crazy stat right there.
Yeah, 3/2. So, highlighted obviously by the GOAT herself, Caitlin Tuffy. But I mean, I think that pretty much all has been said that needs to be said about this cross country program and the dynasty that this cross country program is going through right now. So super, super excited to what's happened so far with cross country.
Yeah, big piece to replace in Caitlin Tuffy, but there's I don't think it's going to be a rebuild or anything like that. There's plenty of pieces in the cupboard, and then also Caitlin Tuffy is actually going for the Olympics tonight, so she'll be running in I believe the 2000, 1500, 2000, something like that. I don't remember, but I watched her the other night, and she qualified for tonight's race. So. We'll be rooting for her to try to make the Olympics to represent the USA in Paris.
And we'll talk more about also to North Wolf mentioned about the NC State swimmers, and we'll be talking more about another Olympian as well here coming up here soon. Making any initial final thoughts about cross country?
I just think they are just. I mean, I think you can probably say right now they're the greatest athletic department team right now, and I think that the thing you said late, and I didn't even realize that. I mean, that's mind blowing, and that's all in the last few years, right? And
3 years, yeah.
They are arguably the greatest program we've had, right? The greatest staff,
yeah.
the athletes. That's why we said a few months ago, like, is Caitlin Tuffy the greatest athlete NC State's ever had? Granted, I mean, David Townsend might be their most accomplished for sure. So I think, I made a comment. I was thinking that I would love to get a pair of shoes signed by her, kind of thing, because she's so dominant. But the program, I mean, it's just at a whole different level. I think everyone's trying to keep up with us right now, to be honest with you.
I mean, honestly, like in my opinion, and I'm sure we'll do some fun stuff during this off season about like, who's on our NC State Mount Rushmore and things like that. And honestly, like I'll take a bold take is even going as far as saying like if Caitlin Tui isn't on your Mount Rushmore, then that's like saying Michael Jordan's not in your top 5 all-time NBA players. It's like that's just blasphemous. Just balled up, throw it away.
Well, not only that, she was like what was it, the Honda Athlete of the Year or something like. I mean, she got like a national, like not cross country, but like an overall athlete of the year. And so yeah, to your point, she's in a stratosphere all by herself.
Yeah, no, literally your in-state Mount Rushmore should be Caitlin Tui and then 3 other people.
She's like the George Washington of Mount Rushmore. Is that what you're saying?
They should build a statue for her. I mean, there's nobody else who's won as many.
I mean,
David Thompson it's gonna be like
he has a statue.
Right, sure. He won one, right? And he has all of the he has other things like the NBA drafts, and he's got the ABA draft, and
he's got a gold medal too, though.
Right. So this girl's got she has 3 national championships,
3 team national championships, but she also has multiple national individual records.
They should put a statue right outside the track field. Right when you walk in, there's Caitlin Tui.
If nothing else, just the fact that she ran with like 102 degree, I think it was a 100-degree fever on the national championship day. Like
it's like the flu game for Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Yep. So yeah, no, I think that once that she has a very successful professional career that she will have, then that's pretty much all, because that's the only other thing I think that you really need to kind of solidify the statue. But either way, I think you're having a great case for it no matter what. But if she has a great professional career like what David Thompson had, statue.
I mean, first ballot NC State Hall of Fame.
I don't know, man.
No, I agree. So I'm just saying solidify, like no doubt.
Yeah, I think I guess what's the standard for getting a statue? I guess it does include having professional career, because coaches got statues, but they were having a professional career at State. So that's fair.
Build it now.
But I agree. Yeah, no, build it now. I agree. All right, y'all. And then NC State football, man. I mean, what a fun year. What a memorable year. I mean, what a wacky, wild, crazy year. I mean, just any word you
fun. Yeah,
honestly, just go to the dictionary, look up every adjective you can think of, and pretty much that applied to last year's football season. So, I mean, 9-4 overall record, 9-3, regular season, highlighted by 5 straight wins. Right? Sorry. Yeah, 5 straight.
Yeah.
Yep. No. Yeah, 5. Anyway, 4 or 5 straight. Highlighted by a win at Virginia Tech, a dominant win versus UNC at home. I mean,
Wake Forest on the road.
Making Dave Clawson question, like, does he need to start over with his entire pro football program? I mean, that should be honestly a feather in Dave Doran's cap, because I mean we're always Team Clawson, Team Dave Clawson, but I mean the fact that literally in that post game press conference, Dave Clawson literally said, maybe I've got everything wrong. Like that's what you define a butt whooping right there. So yeah,
I mean you might look at that as the beginning of the end of the Dave Clawson era. I mean, I'm not just saying that. Like,
that'd be bold.
Just because you look at where they were and where they're kind of at right now, like they've lost a lot, and they're not bringing a lot in.
That would be crazy, though. Let's be real. Like for what Wake Forest puts into athletics, I get it. They do have a bar. But man, it's just hard to believe with everything that Dave Clawson's done for them. Like,
well, I mean, they got
I'm gonna go back here to make sure I got the wins right. So we lost at Duke, right? And that was October 14th.
Yeah.
We won at home against Clemson. We won at home against Miami.
Yep.
We won on the road at Wake. We won on the road at Virginia Tech, and we won at home against UNC.
And we made UNC to just fold. Like, they did not want to be out there in that second half of that game.
Like,
we could have made that score a lot worse.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
And we should have.
Kind of should have.
Drive the point home.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, but again, I mean, just like, in my opinion, Dave Doran, coach of the year, in my opinion, easily was disrespected. I mean, with everything that he did, and the fact that you're going into this year with as much momentum by far that any in-state football program ever has. I mean, even during the Amato years, even heading into Phillip Rivers' senior year, because of the fact that he, with the pieces that were lost from his junior year to his senior. I mean, man, you bringing back so many key pieces. Probably the greatest coaching staff. I would say without doubt probably the greatest coaching staff that football maybe has ever had.
Best coordinators for sure.
Right, coordinators.
I know we had Norm Chow and we had we had some guys back in the day that were really good coordinators, but I think this coordinator bunch these coordinators are so good.
They're dangerous. They're dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You think so? You think Anai could be a head coach? He could be.
I think he could if he wanted to. Like I'm not saying. I'm not saying like Division I, Power 5, but he could definitely be a Division I coach somewhere.
And I'm not saying he can't. I just hadn't really thought of him as like a head coach kind of guy. And maybe a lower level school I could kind of see it. But he's a mind, right? Him and Tony Gibson are minds.
Well, they're grinders too, I think, right? And they're creative in that they if you give them enough time and you give them what they want, because you have to think Anai came in last year after their recruiting cycle. And so he really didn't get the guys that he particularly wanted. I know he could get a couple things here and there from the portal, but this is his first year of really getting the dudes that he wants in his system. And so I think you're going to see a big leap from year 1 to year 2 in the Robert Anai offense.
Yeah. And I mean, just to even with some of the other assistants, I mean, I think that Brian Mitchell, cornerbacks coach, I mean,
he is those underrated hire. Because I remember when they hired him, and I thought like, okay, Virginia Tech's DBs have historically been really good the last 10, 20 years. And he's not been there the whole 10, 20, but he was part of it. And I know he went away. Did he go to West Virginia? I think he went to West Virginia maybe for a stint.
Yeah, he went with
Gibson. And that's when Gibson happened. So I remember thinking like, I have a sneaky suspicion this is going to be a good hire. Good call out, Leighton. Yeah.
Well, and last thing and just to add to it, I mean, Todd Goebel has been on multiple special team coordinator award lists. I mean, Tujay, I think he's going to be super underrated. You give him another year too.
In second year, right? This is his second year of getting dudes that he wants, right, for his line.
And the fact that you have Ruffin McNeil, I mean, a very established head coach as a special assistant on your staff. I mean, that's just
going back to Coach Gibson real quick. I mean, he was a finalist for the Art Briles last year, which is the top assistant coach. So the staff is there, and the continuity, I think, is the big thing, right? Like he has been Coach Dorn has been able to keep this staff pretty much intact because we are starting to pay our guys. Like you're starting to see Tony Gibson being, top 5 defensive coordinators being paid. Like those are big things that we weren't doing for a long time in order to keep excellent talent on staff.
And with these recent prices with the Wolfpack Club, it's going to help. It's going to help.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then lastly too, as well, I'll just add in as well. I got to give a shout out to Thunder as well. I mean, you got to add him into it. And then also too, I mean, Alex Falk, in his first year already he's made an impact. I love him, man. Like great recruit hire.
I love the fact that we have a lot of alumni on staff now too, right? You mentioned Coach Thunder. You have Locke. Oh gosh, dang it! I just forgot his name.
Who? Gavin Locklear.
Yeah, thank you, Locklear. You have
from Apex.
Tyler Jones, Cole Cook.
And then you have Lindsay.
She's a health nutrition person.
No. Audrey. What was it?
I don't know. I'm blanking out.
He was a defensive guy.
Freddie Autrick Lindsay.
Thank
Freddie
you.
Autrick Lindsay. There you go.
Yeah.
You're talking about that guy. Yeah, because he's a player.
Gotcha.
So again, I love how we're just bringing these guys back, and I think that's the greatest recruiting tool. We talked about that with Coach Watkins on the basketball side. Like they know the culture of NC State, and so I think they're able to communicate and build these relationships that are so important.
Yeah, Preacher Man saying Joker Phillips. I'll say recruiting side, absolutely. Coaching side, we'll see.
Well, hey man, dude, I would put it this way: he got a lot of flack a few years ago with his not being able to get some of these guys in recruiting wise, and it was kind of early on. And when he went for a year or two, and now.
But even last year, though, I mean, how Keon Lassane didn't really turn out to anything. Rosner was just.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like identify and getting the talent here, because that's what I remember when they hired. His MO was the recruiting.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Recruiting wise, hats off.
Wasn't he a head coach too, like at Kentucky?
No,
or was he just D guy?
No, I don't think so.
Well, even now he's assistant head coach to Dorn right now. So That's part of his title along with wide receivers. So
I realize that.
But anyway, though, so we'll move on over here to one of my personal favorites, one that definitely hits a lot of heartstrings for sure. Gymnastics, y'all. I mean, 2-time ACC champion this year, regular season and tournament champion. Finished the season with the number 16 overall seed in the country. And next year you're bringing back Chloe Negretti, who's arguably in my opinion one of the top 5 probably greatest gymnasts in NC State program history. She's going to absolutely ball out next year. And I mean, with Kim Landris and the bar that she's raised at NC State gymnastics, it's very, very excited to see what these girls can do next year. Now you are adding in Cal and Stanford, who are 2 pretty synonymous and elite gymnastics programs. I mean, Cal went to the Final Four this past season, so it's definitely going to be tough, a lot tougher. But I mean, listen, I don't think these girls have any interest in shying away from a challenge and building off of the success that they had from last year. Again, 2-time conference winner in the first year that they brought back the ACC. So, who was it? Greg and
that was me. I meant to put the private check. That's my bad.
You're good. So again, love gymnastics, excited about the program and where it's going to go. A huge bump in with all these freshmen that we have. It's going to be a great year next year as well.
Wow. I did not realize that, Greg. I did not realize that.
Yeah. I can honestly say, Leighton, the gymnastics squad loves you right back. They, some of them are dating some of the baseball players or friends of friends. And I think I met like 3 or 4 of them, and they had nothing but high things to say about you. So I will be there at one of the meets with you this year, because I promised those ladies, and they're like, when are you going to come see us? And I'm like, okay, I'll be there. So
I'll be there.
I owe that, but
yes,
they always say that you do a great job covering them. So I wanted to give you your flowers.
Well, they deserve it.
Leighton Smith, really?
Yeah, come on.
I know. I know. They didn't say anything good about Ashlyn though. So it was all about Leighton.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, so now moving on to men's swimming and diving, man. Again,
another championship.
Another championship. I mean, love it.
You get
I think of the what's the guy, the rapper who goes another one? I can't remember the guy's name, but
is that the big dude?
Yeah,
big dude. I'm blanking. I'm blanking.
Just because you asked, I blanked. Yeah, DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled. Yeah, he goes another one. That's what I think of when I see these kind of things. Another one.
Yeah, I mean, Braden Holloway and what he's done with this program is just nothing to say the least. And we'll talk about his biggest accomplishment, which is coming up here next in the women's swimming and diving piece. But I mean, again, ACC champion, top 5 overall in the country. I mean, at one point this year, men's and women's were both number 4 in the country at one point this year, which is insane to think about. How literally you could go for free to go see 2 teams compete, men's and women's, are both top 5 in the country. That is crazy, for free.
Can I pause you just for 1 second? Because I just don't think that this is getting through, like the messaging, because all the big sports, the basketballs, the baseball, the football, they get all the love, and they broke all those, this is the 3rd program ever to do, those checks in the boxes. Like, I feel like if you keep adding on to these other sports, it's something that's probably never been done in the history of sports in college. Like, I mean, pretty much every damn team, pardon my language, has gotten a trophy this year in some form or fashion. Yep. It's incredible to think.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, and on top of that, I mean, from a men's side, we do have one men's swimmer who I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, but he's going to be an Olympian for Poland in 2024 Olympics, which is awesome.
We had individual trophies, like there were some individual national
All-Americans, individual national champions, the ACC champs, individual ACC champs. You've got team ACC champs 3-time, I think, right? So
3 years in a row. So
I guess, where would you rank the programs? Like, who are the top 3 programs right now to you? Because I think we've already covered. To me,
I honestly don't think that's fair. Like,
I know, but I'm going to make it. I'm going to ask the question. Like, where would you? Because it's like, to me, I got to go track, cross country track, and I've got to go swimming right now. Like,
I think you go wrestling, right? Because I think you go sustained success. Like, because to me, if you have sustained success, I think that's just different. I'm not saying that these other teams are going to be one-hit wonders, but just and women's basketball is kind of the outlier. They've been very successful under Coach Moore, so that's
Sure.
probably not a fair assessment. But like
but my point is, we just said
Yeah.
3 programs, all non-revenue sports, right? And if you would have asked me 10, 15 years ago, or told me, yeah, we're in state wrestling is going to be, have like a how many years have they won? Yeah, the blue. How many years have they won EC titles?
Six straight.
6 straight.
Tournament.
10, 15 years ago, and that little portion of a covered portion of Reynolds, they would have said, yes, 6 straight AC title champion, and they're blue bloods. And
just tournament.
Well, did we even mention women's gymnastics, their ACC title? Did you say that?
Of course.
No.
Okay.
No.
I could remember you.
I didn't
said
hear it.
But yeah.
It's just my point is, we just said that these are the 3 programs that are like we think might be the greatest right now for NC State.
Yeah.
And they're non-revenues.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, I mean, men's and women's basketball. Again, we're talking about it. Just went to the Final Fours.
Went to 2 Final Fours, right? So
football finished top 25. Like it's awesome. It's amazing. But Fireboo Corrigan, right? Fireboo Corrigan. Why did we re-sign him? Why did we give him a contract extension?
You got to look at a holistic approach with Boo, right?
Ridiculous.
I mean, he's not Debbie Yao, and Debbie Yao is not Lee Fowler, and Lee Fowler was never Boo Corrigan, right? It's just they're all different.
Come on,
they're all different, right? So it's like,
come on,
but the trophies speak for themselves,
right? Wins. It's like winning fixes everything. It's essentially like the quote people have, right? You just win. It just resolves all the problems.
By the way, we haven't even talked about this yet, but we're probably going to end up in the top 10 to top 12 of the Directors Cup this year.
Yeah, which I mean, like that's honestly as big of accomplishment,
and that's how you measure your program, right? Like that's truly the success of your program, because that takes everything into consideration, all your sports. And
right, exactly.
I'm going to be curious. We're probably going to end up number 2 in the ACC. I feel like Carolina always ends up number 1 just because they play a few more sports than we do, so they have more opportunity. But we're going to be top 2, maybe top 3 in the ACC for Directors Cup. But anyway, I digress.
But don't worry, Northwolf. We'll definitely get to women's tennis is coming. Don't you worry. But let's get on here to women's swimming and diving.
Wait, is that another trophy?
Another one. Another one.
Not ACC.
No, that's NCAA right there.
That's NCAA title. Catherine Burkhoff, who was also going to be representing the Team USA in the Olympics, y'all. I mean, we are literally going to have a
200 backstroke, I believe.
Wearing
I was wondering what the race was. It's 200 backstroke, 20-meter backstroke.
Yeah.
That's crazy, y'all. That is so crazy. That I mean, if
Greg, are you competing in the Olympics this year?
Or are you going? Yeah, are you going?
Are you even a fan, Greg?
I got into it with Wolfpack Karaoke the other day in a friendly banter back and forth, and she's like, "You're not even a fan if you're not going to the Paris to support the state athletes."
She has to be listening to the show. She took that from me.
She's awesome. She's a diehard. I am on travel restrictions for another 63 days.
So. I get it. But
Wife of the year has her limits, right?
Yeah.
So does the bank account.
So does the bank account, because apparently I have FU money. So.
Yeah. Oh.
yeah. But awesome. but Ken's Michigan's we'll get you on here, the live show here this next week. But again, just to recap, so number 9 overall in top 20, in the top 10 for women's, Catherine Burkhoff, 3-time national champion, USA Olympian. Also, Braden Holloway is going to be an
Wait, did you say national champion?
Yeah,
national champion, 3-time.
Make sure are we going to put her on the same level as Caitlin Toohey?
I think it's still different.
3-time national champion.
Yeah, but you have individual plus team.
Right.
Well, she didn't lead her team ticket tonight, like I said earlier.
Right. But yeah, I mean, like this. I mean, is Catherine Burkhoff in the argument for one of the greatest women swimmers to ever come to NC State?
She might be the greatest, honestly. I think she might be 3 national titles. I think she might be the greatest. And
an Olympian. That's
and she's the Olympian, the number 1 Olympian, not the one that just qualified. Like she won like her meet.
Well, she got second in the event.
Oh, did she get second?
She got second.
Okay, I thought she would finish.
My point is, like, I'm just thinking maybe
she's not a substitute. She's not an alternate. She is competing.
I don't know what the other women's swimmers are, their records all time are, but I gotta imagine 3 straight national championships.
Well,
that's got to put you up there in the top 2 in some way. Like if there's not
Yeah.
her, it's got there's maybe there's somebody else, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you figure, I don't know what year she is. So she at least 3
She's
out of
done.
the 4.
That
Oh,
was her
she's
last
done.
year.
Okay,
Mhm.
so three national championships in 4 or 5 years, depending on how she competed.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on now to another one that hits a lot of heartstrings, NC State Wrestling. We just talked about it.
one.
Another one, another team trophy, ACC championship.
It's crazy.
I mean, Pat Popolizio easily has already made us a blue blood. I mean, if we're not in the top 10 in the entire country, then something's going on. Somebody's sick, something like, somebody like multiple legs are broken. Like that's the only way that we're not in the top 10 in the team rankings. Let's put it that way, which is a crazy, crazy floor to say the least. Combined with, just dominance. I mean, this guy, like he is ACC wrestling right now. And just like you said, making 10, 15 years ago, you never thought of it. But also, honestly, probably one of the biggest news, in my opinion, was, you lose Adam Hall, who you could make an argument is one of the best assistant coaches in college wrestling. And then you replace him with a guy who, has experience with Team USA. He has, he was a national champion at Oklahoma State, was the associate head coach there for well over 10 years.
Mhm.
And, so I mean, it's kind of a little bit like where Doran always said, like, if somebody leaves, I'm going to go find somebody better. And that's basically what you did. But I mean, again, Zach Esposito, man. I mean, this dude is going to be huge for us, recruiting side, development side. He's going to be an absolute home run hire for Pat Popolizio. I have no doubt about it.
I just come back to thinking like what that program was like 10, 15 years ago. And
yeah,
Pat Popolizio was there from the start, started from the bottom. Now we're here kind of thing. Right. So he did that. Right. It was all him. And, and he deserves every bit of recognition he gets. You let that man stay here as long as you want to. I just think the only thing I think blank check to me, within reason, right? So, but the other thing I think about, maybe is a good question is, so this is a program who's won 6 straight ACC championships, which is crazy because you consider Virginia Tech, and even if you want to throw in UNC, you want to throw in Pitt, whatever. Like, what is it going to take? What's it going to take to get the wrestling program to the next level? What do you think that is?
Well, that's a great, honestly, unfortunately,
they've been awesome, right? What's the next level? What's going to take to get
I think it's just more consistency from a team perspective. I think you have a lot of really great individual pieces. It's the supporting cast that you need.
Well, and investments too. I think that now with NIL and how much money is going towards like Penn State wrestling right now. I mean, they have an individual national champion every single weight class. It's just stupid right now. So, so right now, unfortunately for college wrestling, it's just Penn State's world and we're just living in it. But we hope that changes. But also another thing to keep in mind with Pat Popolizio, I mean, he's in his late 40s. Like, I mean, he's young.
He's young.
And Braden Holloway, he's young. Like, like we're gonna.
It's like dynasty. It's like dynasty football, Leighton, but for like coaches. Like you get the young guys who can be here forever, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
and every year you continue to see the attendance increase. You have multiple sellouts. We sold out Oklahoma State, we sold out UNC, and I believe we sold out Virginia Tech, if I'm not mistaken.
Heck yeah!
So 3 of your meets, and by the way, you only have 5 home meets, 4 home meets. What do we have last year? 5.
Yeah, 5, 6.
We have 6.
I think it was 6, but anyway,
I think it was 12.
Okay, anyway, but at least half of your meets, at least half of the meets were sold out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah,
Michelle's comment there might be part of it, right? Maybe you have to beat Penn State, right? Beat Ohio State.
Nobody in the country has that recipe though, Megan. Nobody knows how to do that.
I know. I can't remember. Did we beat Oklahoma State?
No, but
maybe it's maybe to her point, it's getting that win against those other programs that are like, okay, you want to next step? They've been here a little bit longer. Let's get those wins over some of those programs and then start pushing them down.
Well, I mean, really, honestly, it's 2 things. Again, it's money, because money helps towards development. It helps towards recruiting now.
Yeah. Plus the whole wrestling club.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. So everything, NIL plus the RTC programs as well. But then secondly, it's honestly just a raise in the know-how to do it. Because I mean, in order to win a national championship for wrestling, you have to know how to navigate all of the nuances that comes with the with the wrestling tournament, where it's basically 4 straight days just nonstop wrestling that for some reason we just have not figured out how to be our best in 4 straight days. I mean, last year, I'll be honest, I mean, I'll say it plainly that it was a complete letdown. And just like to only have 2 guys that were in the blood rounds to make the top 8, make All-American, like that's not acceptable for how many guys we had in the top 10 last year. So
Yeah, we should add at least 5 to 6.
Yeah, should have.
At minimum.
So yeah. So anyway,
because
though,
that's the frustrating part is that the talent is there. The talent is there.
Yeah,
it's just getting the confidence. I mean, I think again with any of these teams, once you break through, and now that people are starting to see you and see you often, that just builds your brand, and I think we're right there.
Well, the last thing I'll say about wrestling, and we'll move on, is that you've seen with live sports that sometimes you have success, but it takes one move on the coaching staff to kind of be that flip of the switch. Is moving from Adam Hall to Zach Esposito that switch? Maybe we'll find out. And that's no slight, that's no disrespect towards Adam Hall, but maybe it's just like
just different perspective.
Just different perspective. Yeah, it's just a change. That's what it is, and it just flips the switch. Maybe we'll find out. So
it's chemistry.
So Macon, I know you probably only watched like maybe 1 or 2 of these games last year, but men's basketball, they who was that? Final Four, baby. I mean, honestly,
can you believe it? Can you believe it? I couldn't believe it, dude. I mean, I'm still on cloud.
Why not us, dude?
Lindsay, my wife, was going down the road the other day, and she was like, she's a Virginia Tech alum, right? She's like, can you believe we went to the Final Four? I was like, I cannot believe it, man.
We were there, bro.
Dude, dream. It was a dream, right? I mean, I was so ready to stop hearing about 1983, and now we don't have to talk about it. Now, we didn't win a national championship, right? But we're not living in the past. We don't have to anymore. Like, we can talk about, granted, regular season, not great.
Terrible.
But I think we're going to talk.
It's overrated. Regular season's overrated.
5, 10, 20, 50 years from now, 30, 50, whatever.
Who needs it?
When we look back on the 2023-2024 season, nobody's going to really, at first thought, nobody's going to remember the regular season.
No one's going to remember the record of that team.
No, well, I mean, people will, right? But if you got to really care.
Do you know, like, what was the record?
I don't even know.
That's my point.
Don't even care. Honestly, I don't even want to remember. So it was. Yeah, my heart's just like,
I think we were like 10 games over 500. Like we were only like 10 games over 500 for the entire year.
I'm gonna look
at it. That was with the Final Four run.
Listen, just delete that at Syracuse performance from my head. Like NCAA, like,
but you needed that though. That's the funny thing. Like you needed those games.
They were 26 and 15 overall. They were
so 11. I said 10.
9 and 11 in conference. They were sub 500 in conference. They went to the freaking Final Four, baby. So, like,
regular season's overrated. Just skip it.
Well, didn't you say later there was somebody who made an argument about regular season being like,
there was
tell that story.
Well, yeah, there was a UNC fan when they were talking, we were talking about the Directors Cup and who was where, and we said that we were ACC tournament champs and all that, and a UNC fan said, "Well, y'all are the ACC tournament champs. We're the ACC champs."
That's not what it says on the trophy.
Boo! Nobody ever remembers regular season. Nobody.
I'm like, bro, 1 game, mano y mano, 0-0, and we won the game.
We whooped you.
That's all I'm saying.
We whooped them.
That was the thing that really just ticked me off, was all these Carolina fans that night leaving the arena in DC. Well, we didn't want the ACC championship anyway. We wanted the bigger
arrogance. We want national championship.
Not every one of them, right?
Why were you there then? If you didn't care about it, why were you even at the game? Like, get out of here. Like, it's like you said, that elite nonsense. Just say, hey, the better team won that night. Hey, maybe 9 times out of 10 they get the win, but that night we were the best.
Yeah. And we're not even talking Duke. Beat them twice
on the big stage.
On the big, we beat them in the ACC and we beat them in the national tournament to make the Final Four. Like, I mean,
within 2 weeks after they beat us on our home court, like that was
crazy. I mean, good season. I think good season's way out.
Pretty good.
And honestly, too, and this is one last thing I'll say too, but honestly, I think that Purdue game should be talked about more than it was. And maybe the overall perspective may look as, oh, Purdue controlled that game, but I truly do say if that Michael O'Connell injury, if he didn't get injured, man, that would have been a 1-2 possession game the rest of the way. We controlled Zach Edey. We controlled the 2-time national champion.
Yeah.
We held him
not
to his
player of the year,
postseason low in points and rebounds. We did what it took to win the game. But Michael O'Connell, who's been that glue the whole postseason, we lost him.
And we held Purdue to their second lowest output of the whole season.
Right. It was 63 points, right? I think it's the number. And
if we hit a shot in the ocean, we would have been.
The defensive game plan was right. Offensively, we weren't. And I really do think Edey got to Burns. I do. I mean, Edey's big dude, right? So
yeah, he's 2-time national player.
Right.
That's going to happen.
But yeah, your point. I mean, and I think that's even crazy. We're saying Michael O'Connell was that critical to the team, and he coming into the season, he was just like, okay, this guy's gonna come in and play, and we'll see how he plays. And you just don't know now. I mean, I think that goes back to say, I know you got to move on. Transfer portal is how you win now. You do not have to wait. Football, if you go back over there, we used to talk about, I got to wait for the quarterback 2 to 3, 4 years from now. If you give this guy, he's going to be the guy. We've got Devin Leary. We had to wait a little bit, right, to see him get going. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do that anymore. Go get the guy. Go get him right now. Go get Brandon Huntley-Hatfield. Go get a Michael McConnell. Go get a DJ Burns. And those guys weren't expected to be the value State got in the transfer portal. If you want to look at it, the value they got, the stars, so to speak, and the return on investment, huge.
The rumor was $1.5 million is what that team cost.
That's crazy.
And then you can think about what they're bringing in now, building off of that. Like, they're just, man, it's so.
I mean, you had other teams that were spending $3-4 million that didn't get the results that State did, and I get it. That might be a shot in the dark, a one-hit wonder. Like, you just don't know if you're going to be able to get those same success for that kind of value. But look, you got to give credit to Coach Keats and his staff. You just have to for the evaluations based on what the dollar value.
And then I'll kind of put the bow on this too. They have to figure out that can't happen again regular season though. So that can't happen.
No, you can't put yourself into a corner.
No, whatever. And you're not going to have DJ Burns every year, right? So they've got to change some things, right? And I guess transfer portal takes a little longer to build the chemistry. Maybe that was part of it.
And honestly, I'm looking at next year's team. We don't at least to me, I don't think we really have that guy, which maybe is a good thing.
You don't have a DJ Horn.
I don't have DJ Horn was going to be what he was, right? You didn't know that.
Right.
So I mean, he may be there on the roster. You don't know.
And who's to say that MJ Rice doesn't step up and become a guy this year? Like, we just don't know. Like, and you won't know until about 10 games into the season.
Can Jaden Taylor not go up to 20 points per game? Why can't Jaden Taylor do that? He was like 11 or 13, I think.
Yeah.
I think
because here's the thing, that team had options, right? So you didn't they weren't like to your point, Jaden Taylor wasn't a number one option. At times he was, but he wasn't that guy. You had DJ Horn, you had DJ Burns. You had, and to the point, you had guys like Diarra and O'Connell. Like, they weren't focal points in the first half of the season. Like, it literally took half a season, 3/4 of a season for that team to come together. And to your point, you don't want that to happen again, because if you get too far behind the 8 ball, then you have to go win a tournament, and that's putting a lot of pressure on the team.
Agreed. Yeah. But anyway, Macon, I'll let you bring in the 1 point about Jaden Taylor whenever you find it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can find the points per game. He averaged a little over 11 points per game.
Yep.
If the shot, I don't think it'll be 20.
Give me 15.
That hard.
Give me 15.
Yeah. Why can't he get better? Why can't he? I mean, he doesn't have to be. You don't have to win the same way. Honestly, I actually rather State not. Right? If State had 2 guys really that were scoring all the points, it was DJ Horn and DJ Burns. Right? That's your main 2 guys.
Yep.
If one of those guys is off, you're probably going to have a bad night.
Yep.
If I can have a more even distribution of scoring. And maybe it's not having 25 points or 30 points a night, but it's like I get 15 to 20 from 4 or 5 guys, maybe 5, 6 guys. I'm feeling really good about that, because then I don't have to depend on these 1 or 2 guys to really go off for me every night. So that's just my only thing there.
And I know we'll talk about it more. If we get the same defensive output this year that we got last year, we're going to be in a lot of ball games. Yep. We have to figure out a way to shoot threes better. as a
Yes.
team. Like you
Yes.
just gotta have to figure that out. So anyway,
Yep.
that's my last 2 cents.
And then last thing I'll say, no rebounds, no rings. Last year we were a little bit concerned, but until EB really started to, sorry, not EB, Diarra, stepped up in the postseason. But this year I'm saying between Ismail
Dukes.
between Hunley Hatsfield, between Middlebrooks, between Dontrez Styles, between MJ Rice, like we should see a significant jump up in terms of rebound margin. So, all right. Women's basketball, y'all. Another team where, to me, honestly, once again, halfway through the year, I was like, okay, good, but what's going on a little bit, just a little bit of off. But man, I think honestly, for me, the story for this year is going to be Isaiah James is a real deal. Isaiah James is a top 5 women's college basketball player heading in next year. Any list that doesn't have that, in my opinion, is missing something. I don't understand why. She just wasn't, like, people saying, well, she got second or whatever team All-American or whatever it is. And I'm like, well, like, how are you saying she's disrespected? I'm like, because she should be among the Paige Beckers, among like the elite of the elite in terms of the best women's college basketball player. And again, 2 years ago, when she had just stepped in to replace Diamond Johnson, I honestly had no idea this ceiling was in here, but dadgummit, it is, and she's the real deal.
Yeah, you saw it in that Carolina game the year before where she stepped in for Diamond, and you saw, okay, this is a player that can be a force to be reckoned with.
Yep.
For me, it, and again, we'll talk about this as we get into the previews, but for me, it's okay. What can those freshmen from last year do to step up? Like, because now they're going to take on bigger roles. I'm excited. I'm definitely want to see what Zoe does this year. I think she'll be more of a focal point. And I know Mallory, I saw some pictures of her. She slimmed down. And so I think she can be, the next thing. And you want to see what the Lacey Steels do.
No,
like, this is a team that can be better than last year, which is scary to think.
They're almost like run it back.
No, kind of it better be. It needs to be. It should be.
I know. I'm just saying, they were Final Four, and they're going to run it back. I mean, Sanaya Rivers, Isaiah James, as long as they can work the NIL stuff out the way they need to, and they supposed to. You got me. It's Mimi Collins is done. Is she right? She's done.
She's done. Yeah,
she's done. Oh
River's
my gosh,
done.
who's the other girl? Who's that?
River Baldwin.
River Baldwin's done.
No, who's
the
other
got?
girl?
Madison Hayes back.
Madison Hayes, yeah.
Yep.
But she's
you
back.
Mentioned Lacey Steele, a young piece that flashed at times. You've got Zoe Brooks coming back, right? So it's like,
and then you have that freshman guard too, Jones, right?
Zamaria Jones.
Zamaria Jones.
Yeah, she's coming this year, right?
Yes.
Yes. So Maddie Cox has flashed at times, as Northwolf said. So
yep. Collier, like I
your
said,
nucleus is still there, and you can do it. My big thing is, to me, if I had to pick one person, it's Sanaya. Like she
I
get
has
it.
To
like
step up.
Zoe was good with the freshman.
I need UConn Sanaya.
But she was not consistent at times in the postseason. They were winning in spite of her at times, and and it kind of helped covered up. But they when it got bigger and bigger competition, I didn't see that. Like particularly when we played it, I can't remember who it was we played against.
We lost at UNC. Like come on, man. And I'm not gonna put it all on one person, but Sanaya Rivers was killing us that
She's the one person that you're gonna get it from Isaiah. I mean, I know I'm gonna get it from Madison Hayes. Zoe's gonna, I think, just naturally mature, not naturally, but she's gonna mature from the year of playing. She's the one. She's the one.
This season will hinge on the freshmen to sophomores because they're going to be a much bigger role. They're going to need Maddie Cox, Mallory Collier. You're going to need Lacey Steele. You're going to need Zoe. What's the next step in their evolution? And if you get where they should be, this is another Final Four team.
Oh, easily. Yeah. And again, Sanaya Rivers' talent is an elite. She's an elite talent.
Elite. I mean, you can't teach her talent. You can't.
No, God
she
bless
just
her
has to. To me, she has to lock in, be focused, and want it. Like
Yes.
when she steps on the court, other than I mean, I really even think Sanai could say this. I really think it's fair for her that when I step on the court, I'm the best player on this court.
Yes.
Right? I think she should have the mentality. I think it's reasonable to say that now Zaya, she should too, right? She's dominant,
Sure.
she's consistent, but like
Yeah.
when Zanaya Rivers, she should be able to say, I am, and play with that type of mindset. And I think that is going to, and then, take it as like a challenge. I got this matchup. I'm going to show everybody between me and this person over here on that team who's the better player and take it to me. That's the killer instinct, so to speak. So,
and then the last thing I want to say, if Zoe Brooks develops a 3-point shot,
game over.
Game over.
I agree.
A consistent one.
She missing her shot.
Yeah. If she could be a 35% 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Then you're
30. Yeah, that would be just
30,
give
30,
average.
give me
average
30.
3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Average 3-point shooter, right? So
yeah, no, agreed.
And I know she's got the ability. And gosh dang, if this team, like the sky truly is the limit.
It's the athleticism to me. It's again, go back to Sanaya. Like she should go on the court every time.
This is a team that can run up and down the court all night.
Yeah.
And they brought in the transfer too. The transfer forward
from Sweden.
Yeah. Correct.
No.
Well,
I'm thinking
she's coming. Yeah.
I'm thinking the other girl. I can't remember.
From Boston. Boston University. I'm drawing a blank on her name, but yes.
But the thing too, which I say is the two pieces you lost from last year. You could argue the reason we beat Texas, the reason we beat Stanford wasn't because, Mimi Collins and River. It was more of the Isaiah, the Madison Hayes that you're getting back. So that's no disrespect, but just saying, hey, listen, like you beat those teams of the pieces that you're bringing back. So just
important pieces, but pieces that are complementary to the 2 or 3 other people.
Agreed. And the last thing I'll say too is that, I think that honestly for the ACC this year, it's pretty much, I think it's pretty much NC State and Notre Dame. Hannah Hidalgo, she's top 5.
And then if you get Olivia Miles back to her previous self, like that's going to be
a dangerous team for sure. So I think it's going to be Notre Dame and NC State show. I
don't think Virginia Tech's going to I think they're going to take a big step back. Big step back.
Yeah.
Watch out for Duke too. Watch out for Duke.
Yeah, but they had a lot of really good players last year.
I don't know. I don't know what their I don't know what their class situation looks like, but they were a team that came on.
Yeah, but anyway though, so women's tennis, y'all. For women's tennis, I would say obviously not the ceiling that we saw 2 years ago. Obviously winning ACC title and getting back to a national championship appearance, but still, 2 wins over UNC. And honestly, I think without a doubt one of the top 3 women's tennis players of all time, Emilia Rajecki. All the records that she broke this season. And NC State women's tennis and Simon Earnshaw has solidified that NC State women's tennis is going to be a top 10 program moving forward. If this team is not top 10, over the course of a season, then something is wrong. Let's put it that way. So, just the recruiting that the staff is bringing in is just phenomenal. So I'm telling you, and again, once again, like NC State men's and women's tennis are consistently, as of last year and really kind of over the last 2 years, top 20, top 25 programs, and you can go watch both of them play right across from the baseball stadium for absolutely free. So once again, y'all, just a great time to be a State fan. And again, we'll talk about men's tennis here coming up here, but huge shout out to Emilia Rajecki, who really had to be that leader, be that head heading into a year after having the greatest season in state women's tennis history, and following it up with still an elite season for sure. And just like Norfolk was saying, women's tennis recruiting is excellent right now, bringing in the number 7 overall player next year and the number 3 player right now in the class of 2025. So again, the pipeline is there to continue to solidify competing for ACC titles, competing for national titles, and being a top 10 program every single year. So Greg, make any thoughts on this?
Nope. Hit it square on the head.
Beautiful. All right. And then men's tennis, once again, just the ceiling continues to climb for this program. With wins at South Carolina, beating UNC as well. and one point actually getting ranked higher than women's tennis. I think men's tennis got to as high as number 12 in the country. So now they completely fell flat on their face in the postseason, but still, I mean, the fact that you're seeing probably the highest ceiling that this men's tennis program has ever seen is a reason to be excited for sure, and it's going to continue to grow, especially with having women's tennis right next door. uh that the tennis facilities and program right now in general is in a great spot. So very, very excited about what men's tennis can do heading into next season to build off of it. Greg, making any additional thoughts?
Another sport that pays you to come watch them. They give out free goodies and all kinds of stuff. So if you're looking for something to do, especially the nice thing is they play regardless of rain or cold weather.
Right.
If it's not good, they'll move it indoors. So just go out and support these guys and ladies. It's a fun program that costs you nothing to go watch.
Yeah. I was going to even add, I kind of view them in a similar vein that I think of volleyball right now, but they're even more successful, right? So, like their program, they're a sport at NC State team that I think state fans could really culturally begin growing more and more about. I just think they have to maybe market themselves to the fan base a little bit more and better in some ways because the wins are there. I think it's just maybe that, but volleyball and tennis, I think, are very fun sports to watch because they're very fast-paced and dynamic kind of plays. So,
to the point, you can get a little rowdier at college tennis. I learned going for the couple of matches that I've been to. So, like, you can cheer and get a little bit louder, more so than a professional tennis match. So, to your point, I thought it was pretty fun a couple times that I went out and watched it. And
I also think as well that Diana Schneider, who once again is
she's moving up.
I mean, yeah, she's so she was a part of the ACC championship team 2 years ago and the national title appearance team. And right now she's ranked number 47 in the world for women's tennis players right now. She is a NC State Pac Pro.
Is that good?
She's
is that good?
47th best woman tennis player in the world right now. And she's only 20 years old.
And to put that in perspective, this time last year when she was finishing up her NC State career, she was about 92, 93. So she's literally cut that in half as a full-time player. And so you would think if that trajectory maintains that she's going to be probably a top 15, top 20 player here real quick.
Oh, yeah. No, which is crazy to think about. So that's only going to help Simon Earnshaw's recruiting resume for sure to any of the top, saying you come to NC State and you develop and then you go pro and you can become one of the top 50 greatest women's tennis players playing right now. That's unbelievable. So anyway, now the other one, which I'm very, very excited about. And honestly, I think for me, Macon, I'm going to add this one to the list with softball. I like in terms of teams that can break out next year.
They're really easy to walk to if you're on campus as a student. Like, just go right there. They're right there next to Reynolds. So
but also too, like, I think that honestly, Lindsay Leftwich is probably the coach that I'm the most excited about in terms of the potential that she could bring. NC State program. Like,
a little swagger.
She's got a swagger. She's got a confidence. She's got an ability to develop.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best developmental coaches in the country. I mean, and I kind of put some stats together, but let me find it once again.
I'm just thinking while you're looking at that, I just feel like with volleyball and softball in particular, it's give us something to cheer for. And that sounds harsh.
Well, build it and they'll come, right?
Yeah, build it and they'll come. Yeah, if you build it, they will come. And it's almost like the baseball crowd will go and follow softball if they have something to cheer for. And I don't think it's going to be hard to go there, right?
No.
Well, I know they sold more tickets last year. I know that they, so it's building. They just need to be able to knock that door down.
That's right. And just to solidify, so 2 years ago, our RPI was 147. Last year, our RPI was 53. So, AKA, I mean, if we were, I think, more competitive in the ACC, even though the ACC is
gauntlet,
is just a gauntlet right now, that RPI 53, that's pretty much putting you in NCAA tournament category, which keep in mind that 2 years ago, we didn't even have a head coach for 90% of the season. But also 53, RPI 53 is the highest RPI we've had in the last 8 years. Yeah. So, I mean, just to wrap your head around that, that's the highest RPI we've had in the last 8 years. We also have 2 huge wins to go off it too, with a 6-1 win over number 8 Clemson in Death Valley, and a 4-0 win over top 25 South Carolina in Columbia. So, and then again, on top of that, everything with, the pieces we have returning combined with the transfers that we have coming in. And again, a transfer from Ohio State, a transfer from Baylor, transfer from Ohio State, if I already said them. But anyway, Virginia Tech, Ohio State, and Baylor. Three transfers from those schools, which are really,
Did we get
really.
someone from Georgia too, not long ago too, I thought.
We did. Georgia Tech. It was a pitcher. So, but yeah, so again, just love what she's doing, love her ability to develop. And again, it's a process, no doubt about it. I think that once some of the plans more start to take shape with the facilities upgrades that are planned here in the next couple of years, I think you're really going to start to take a jump up to, watch out for a College World Series. That's all I'm saying. And there's no doubt about it, Greg, that I'm the first time we make it to the Women's College World Series, I'm going.
I'll be there. City. You know me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But here's the thing, you see, I don't like comparing us to other programs, but you look at a Duke program who's, relatively new. I think they just started in 2018, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Is that I think that sounds right. And they were in a College World Series this year. Yeah. This is year 2 of Coach Leftwich's tenure. She had a decent base to build from, and I think, give her another year or so. I think we're gonna be right there competing.
Yep. No, absolutely. So again, super, super excited about softball. And again, with them and the other 2 sports that Macon mentioned earlier, I think that we're putting them on breakout alert for next year. But also got to give a shout out to our first club sport, which is pack sailing. Got to give a shout out where shout outs are due. And the fact that in-state sailing has now gone to 3 straight nationals appearances, where basically the top 16 club programs are invited to compete. And this is now the 3rd straight year that NC State Sailing has made it. And per what we've spoken with the coaching staff, this is only the beginning. This is only the floor. This is, that national title is well within the eventual reach. So again, I got to give a huge shout out to the NC State Sailing program. That's absolutely, hey, listen, in terms of with ice pack, I think that if, with one being hockey, one being sailing, I think that if sailing had the same amount of eye candy as hockey, that we'd be talking about sailing way more than we are. But in terms of what they're accomplishing is phenomenal, say least. Huge shout out there.
Yeah.
So,
and Coach, by the way, Coach Dana just got in the Hall of Fame. He just got put into whatever the sailing club Hall of Fame is. So that's pretty impressive.
Yep. And then Abby Lampy, again, now 2-time cheese rolling champion, was 2 years ago the first ever U.S. women's competitor to ever win the competition. Now winning it twice in 3 years, and she didn't compete last year. So the 2 years she's competed, she's won, and she's been a national icon. She's everywhere. It's pretty amazing, actually.
She didn't compete last year.
Right. She didn't compete
22 and 24.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but even her doing the first pitch at the Durham Bulls where she rolled the cheese wheel, to the play and then followed up with a baseball pitch. I love that. So again, love seeing everything that's going for her right now. And hey, listen, I have no problem. We put bass fishing in our caps as state fans for a long time. I have no issue putting cheese rolling in that cap as well.
That's a world title.
Absolutely. That's right. So anyway, y'all, we're going to wrap this thing up with the sport that hits all the heartstrings here for Greg the Leg himself. Baseball, baby. What a fun, what a crazy, what a, memorable year, to say the least. And I think, honestly, that this year is going to be not quite as much remembered because, the College World Series, unfortunately, we didn't leave with a win in either game. But, again, lost both games by 1 run. If a couple of things had gone our way in either one of those games, we would have won either of them. But just unfortunately, neither of them went our way. But Greg, I think I'll leave it to you to kind of do your full run out of this NC State baseball season 2024.
Yeah, very successful year, finishing 3rd overall in the ACC regular season. I thought that was great. The one thing that'll be talked about other than the College World Series is all the ACC series wins that we got. I mean, beating number 2, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, and we split number 7. So that was Clemson, Wake Forest, Duke, UVA, and UNC. And so that was pretty amazing, getting a 10th national seed and, going to Georgia, winning a super regional. I think that was just, icing on the cake, going down and beat number 7. Go against the Golden Spikes. Yeah, exactly right. And then you had players like, AMAC, Alex Makarevich, second team All ACC, Jacob Kosart, first team All ACC. Both of those guys getting multiple All American status from various publications, from Perfect Game, Baseball America, Rawlings. Just awesome. You had Cozy, who's a Buster Posey finalist, which is the best catcher award. That's just great. First team All ACC. You had Sam Garrett, both third team ACC. You had Jacob Duden on the all freshman team. You had 3 guys that are going to Team USA for summer ball, for collegiate tour, and Consiglio, Duden, and Derek Smith. You had guys we had 8 guys on the all academic team, which is AMAC, Sosa, Buttersworth, Serrano, Havner, Souls, Marone, and Highfield. So just a really great season on their part. This freshman core is going to be together for another 2 or 3 years. These pitching, we're going to bring guys, and we have a lot to replace on the offensive side, but I would no doubt with the way this coaching staff is, with Coach Hart recruiting, and shout out to Coach Chrysler for having just a phenomenal year as a pitching coach. Avent announcing that he's going to come back another year. He's looking like, he's still got unfinished business to do.
Yep.
Just a retool, man. Just another retool for next year. And those boys already expect to be in Omaha next year.
Well, and again, because I mean, with any NC State baseball program, you're going to have a great batting. You're going to have a great offense. Just with a Coach Hart led team, you're going to have a great offense. It's just, what do you have pitching wise? And you can make the argument that with the pieces we already have coming back, assuming that we can hold on to them, and with the pieces we're going to add, a guy that was a 4.4 ERA pitcher starter at UNCG, adding him already, you could argue that next year's pitching staff is going to be one of the greatest pitching staffs we've had in a long time. So
and they're gonna get some more guys. There's some really good portal arms, and like you said, this coaching staff does a really great job of recruiting, and then you're going to start seeing all these enhancements. Next phase of enhancements are going to start, and so that's only going to help in the recruiting process. So sky's the limit for this team as well. And then what do you say, Macon?
Another one.
Another one.
Yeah,
I don't say it. I'm just coining the phrase. Right
so great season by the Pac-9. Only going to get better from here.
So either way, y'all, I think that we're coming to the end of this saying, I mean, just what a phenomenal, unbelievable, amazing year. One to remember, no doubt about it. And
historical.
Historical. Oh, no doubt about it. Like, we had conversations of, is it one of the best? Is it the best? No, it's the best. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
No talking about it. No, well, 83, we won a national. Nope. This one's better. No doubt about it. And again, why not have an even better season next year? That's basically what I'm saying. You're saying we could finish top 10, top 12, Greg? Why not top 5? Let's go make it happen.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. So anyway, y'all, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. First of all, if you haven't checked out our interviews yet with Colby Cronk, 3/4-star defensive line commit for the class 2025 for in-state football, go check those out. We have some very, very special episodes coming up out here soon. We have an interview with class 2025 quarterback commit Will Wilson coming out here to give you a little bit of a teaser. So that will come out tomorrow. It'll be a very, very exciting interview. So make sure you do not miss out on that. Make sure, again, hit that subscribe button, y'all. Make sure, again, hit that like button if you enjoyed this conversation. If you love this athletic year, hit that like button, y'all. It really goes a long way. And also, if you're listening to this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever it may be, please do us a big, big favor as well. And leave a 5-star review. And again, y'all, let us know in the comments, what was your favorite year from this athletic year? So let us know down in the comments, if you're watching on YouTube, what was your favorite moment from this athletic year? We'd love to hear your feedback on that. And then make sure, again, y'all, to leave us make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. So excited. We got a lot of fun content to hold you guys over for these next 2 months as we build up to football and what should be a great athletic year to come. So, Greg, make any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up, y'all?
Let's run it back.
Let's do it again, y'all. And go Pack, y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all soon. And go Pack, y'all.